but spoke on a Shabbos that was a similar kviyas to our kviyas, except the date. That was this upcoming Shabbos. It was Parsha Shmini. It was also Parsha Chodesh. It was not Rosh Chodesh, but it was Chaf Hei Adar Sheni, today's date. And it was a year after Chav Beis Adar, Chav Beis Shvat. In other words, this was the Rebbe spoke a Sicha about the Rebbetzins birthday, a short Sicha, a month after the Rebbetzins passing. But this was a year and a month after the Rebbetzin passing, or a year and 2 months actually after the Rebbetzins passing, where he spoke a lengthier Sicha on the topic of the 25th of Adar. Says amongst the many things that are taking place in this Shabbos that was on Chafei Adar, as we said before. We need to begin with a major and general idea that matters for the creation in general. The fact that it comes out on the calendar, this Shabbos that the Rebbe is saying was on the 25th of Adar. So there is a dispute in the Gemara about what day was the world actually created and what month was the world actually created. The Das Rabbi Yeshua, Nisan Nivra Olam, according to Rabbi Yeshua, on Nisan the world was created. Now it doesn't mean literally that the world was created, but rather the Rebbe explains Hainu Shebriya Sa'adam, the creation of man, which is Tachlos Abriya, which was the entire purpose of creation, which is B'yoyim Ashisha L'Maisa Bereishis, the 6th day of creation, Hoysa Be'echad B'Nisan, was on the 1st of Nisan. So when Rabbi Shua says that on Nisan the world was created, doesn't mean the first stage where we say Bereishis Bara Elokim, but mankind was created, that because mankind is upon which the entire creation revolves, man was created on Nisan. According to the opinion of Rabbi Shua, the first day of creation, Chamisha Yom Lifnei, the 5 days beforehand, Uchaf Hei Adar is the 25th of Adar, and if it would have been a possibility of 2 Adars, it would have been Hasamach Nisan. It would have been the Adar that's close to Nisan. So in other words, in a leap year, which day marks the first day of creation, not the 25th of Adar Rishon, because that's not one that's close to Nisan. And we are working our way backwards from the 1st of Nisan, which is the day that Adam Rishon was created. So we have to work our way back 5 days to the 25th of Adar Sheni. Like we say in Kishem Shal Das Rav Elazar, this idea that on the 25th of Adar is the first day of creation is just like, according to the disputing opinion, the one that disputes Rabbi Yeshua, according to Rav Elazar, Tishrei Nivra Olam, Rav Elazar holds and is of the opinion that the world was created in Tishrei, meaning Adam Rishon's birthday was on the first day of Tishrei. That is what we mark with Rosh Hashanah. So Yom Rishon L'Maisa Bereishis Uchafei El. So then the first day of creation was the 25th of El. Okay, so this is only to be able to figure out what date was the first day of creation. According to Rabbi Yeshua, the first day of creation would be the 25th of Adar. The Rebbe goes on to say on the top of the next column, Maili Yisera B'Chafei Be'Adar, there's an special advantage in the 25th of Adar over the 25th of El, even though these are two seemingly disparate and disputed opinions about that holds which is the first day of creation, that according to Rabbi Yeshua it's the 25th of Adar, and according to Rabbi Elazar it's the 25th of El. According to what it's known, that really it's explained that there's really no dispute. Really, they both agree, and the difference is when is the actual date of creation and when is the potential date of creation. The Tivuch Beis Day is by being able to fit together, and the two opinions, in Nisan Nivra Olam, if the world was created in the month of Nisan, or Tishrei Nivra Olam, or was the world created on Tishrei, the Benisan Allah b'machshava livrei. On Nisan it arose in Hashem's thought to create the world. But Tishrei Hoysa Abriva Ma'isa, and the actual creation and action was in Tishrei, and therefore based on this idea that the Nisan creation was in Hashem's thought, this understood the advantage of the 25th of Adar over the 25th of El. Just like in a human being, thought is a much higher power than action. So the same thing, the 25th of Adar is the way the creation began in Hashem's thought. So that's much greater and higher than 25th of El when it was Hashem's action kaviyach. Signon and Kabbalah and Kabbalah terminology, that the creation during Tishrei is concerning the externality of the world, because that's what actions involve. Action involves externality. And the creation and Nisan is concerning Pnimius Ha'olam, is the inner aspect of the world, just like thought in comparison to action is the inner part of the person. So too the inner aspect and the inner meaning and the inner purpose of the world is on the 25th of Adar. That's when it began. The Rebbe goes on to say on the next page, this concept of the 25th of Adar being something that goes up in Hashem's thought over action, this matters also and primarily to the creation of man, even though we said before that the creation of man was 5 days later, whether according to the opinion that it was on the 1st of Tishrei or according to the opinion of Rabbi Shua that was the 1st of Nisan, still in all, this impacts even the creation of man. Just like the day that creation of man is called, we say this in Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, this day is the beginning of your action. Why is it considered the beginning of your actions when really the creation began 5 days earlier? Since the creation of man is the completion, the perfection, the goal, and the purpose of the entire creation. So too it's understood to the other side. The main idea of the literal beginning of your action. What's the literal beginning of your action? That's the first day of creation. Hu brias ha'adam. What is the primary expression of the first day of creation? Where does it express itself? The first day of creation being the 25th of Adar, the 25th of El, it's expressed and it's about the creation of man. Because the entire creation that took place during the 5-6 days between the first day the world was created, or starting with the first day the world was created, throughout the 5-6 days following until a person was created, that is for the sake of the person. Like the Chazal explains, so you should enter the meal immediately. You didn't create man the first day of creation, then he has to wait around and make sure that the trees grow and the grass grows and the animals are there for his usage and so on. No, the other way around. When you bring an invited guest somewhere, so first you prepare everything and then you bring him into the meal. The same thing Hashem created the entire creation, starting from day one through until the 6th day, and then he brought Adam Adishon in. So therefore it comes out that even the first day of creation and everything following is all about Adam. About Gosh, you say to Benegel Adam Amiti, and this is even more emphasized concerning the true Adam, which the Chazal say, Atem Kriyim Adam. You, the Jewish people, are called Adam. Since the beginning of your doings of the month of Nisan, which we said before, that's the creation of man and the 6th day of the creation. After the introduction of the beginning of creation on the 25th of Adar, that is in the thought of Hashem, like we said before. Pnimius Ha'olam is the inner part of the world. And similar to this concerning the creation of man, Habriya the Yisrael, Atem Krim Adam, the creation of Yidden, you are called Adam. That is the true intention and the inner intention of the entire creation. So therefore, it fits in with the 25th of Adar more so even than the 25th of El, because the 25th of Adar, we said Hashem's thought, the inner reason for the world. Just like the Yidden are the inner reason for the entire creation, the inner thought, the purpose of the entire creation. Now the Rebbe says, what is this? How does this apply for each and every one of us? What's the message from this for each and every one of us? Be it in Baba is called Echad Vechem Yisrael, and the explanation of this matter in the service of every single Yid. Amr Chazal, the Chazal taught and said, Lefichach Nivra Ha'adam Yichidi. For this reason, man was created alone, a single creation. All other creations were created in groups. The entire species of birds and animals and fish and vegetation all grew together. You didn't have one tree grow and then that gave birth to a whole bunch of other trees. Or you didn't have one animal be created, even one animal per species, and then that created all the rest of the species. No, you had the entire animals of a certain species be created at once. Only man was unique. Only man was created. That one person was created when they created mankind. To show you that from one person is created an entire world. In other words, to show the pivotal role of every single individual, that the entire world is created from him. Hainu shekol adam, this means every person. Prat, and even more so, atom kriyim adam, you, Yidden that are called Adam, who oilam malek my Adam edish. He's an entire world like Adam edish. Apal pisha base b'riyase shall call Adam eine yichidi. Though when every person is created, he's not the only person that's in the world. Shara yesh riboy habnei Adam. There's because there's many people, but the message from Adam Arishon being created, the only one, is that every person should realize that he is like the entire world, that for him the entire world was created. Do not think that the world was created for everybody else. The world was created for me, and I am the center of the universe, just like Adam Arishon was the center of the universe. From this is understood. Shazman, the B'riyas Adam, at the time of the creation of man, Hachel Mazman, the Haskolos Abriya, beginning from the time of the beginning of creation, the literal beginning of creation, Tchilas Masecha, the beginning of your doing. She'ikra v'tachlisa B'riyas Adam Arishon, that its main purpose and its goal is the creation of Adam Arishon. So as soon as you have the beginning of creation, that's already expressing this. Negeya v'shayach l'chol echad v'echad miYisrael. It matters to and is associated with every single Yid. Shehu b'dugmas Adam Arishon, that every single Yid is similar to Adam Arishon. Mutish b'Rosh Hashanah, just like it's emphasized on Rosh Hashanah, sheboy nasa chidush kol abriya b'chidush Adam, that on Rosh Hashanah becomes the renewal of the entire creation and then the renewal of the person. From this understood concerning the creation of man during this, and that began 6 days earlier. Beginning from the beginning of your actions on the 25th of Adar, that its goal and its purpose, and includes in it Brias Adam, the creation of man. Then that day becomes a novelty in the general creation, including specifically in the existence of man. Even more so, the Chafei Adar ve'echad b'Nisan nase ikar achidush ba'ofen naile yoser ma'achidush b'Chafei be'el ve'echad b'Tishrei. On the 25th of El and the 1st of Nisan becomes the main uniqueness, and in a much higher way than the novelty that took place and what took place in the 25th of El and the 1st of Tishrei. Why? Because, like we said earlier, li yoser hachidush, the machshava, since it is the newness and it's brought something about new in thought, that's the source of where it came down in action. Therefore, on the 25th of Adar in every single year, when these days are remembered and they're done again, like it says in the Megillah, And it's again renewed the idea that your actions, the beginning of your actions, every single yid needs to be a renewal. A newness that's expressed primarily in the goal of his creation. And what's the purpose and the goal of every yid's creation? I was created to serve my master. That when it comes to 25th of Adar, so then the way he serves his master has to be in a totally new way. That's incomparable to the way of his service that was up till now. So up till now, the Rebbe spoke about the 25th of Adar in the calendar in general. Now he's going to connect it with the idea of a birthday, which is the Rebbe's birthday today. Yes, my Indian, the Yom we can connect this with the idea of a birthday. Yedua, it's known. Nishmas Adam Arishon is Chadeshes b'Yom B'Riyosoi, that the neshama of Adam Arishon is renewed in the day of his creation. Chilas Masecha, the beginning of your action, b'Chol Shana v'Shana, every single year. So every single year when it's Adam Arishon's birthday, so his neshama is renewed. Chivin Shenishmas Adam Arishon Kelel is called Neshamas Yisrael. Since the neshama of Adam Arishon includes in it all the neshamas of Yidden, Nimsa comes out. Yom B'Riyos Adam Arishon B'Chol Shana. At the day of the creation of Adam Arishon, every year, Nasa Hiladas HaNeshamas becomes the birth of all the neshamas of all Yidden. Then moving Gamin Gel L'Chafei Adar Tchilas Masecha Machshava. This also understood concerning the 25th of Adar, the beginning of your actions in Hashem's thought. It's like the birthday of all the general Neshamas Yisrael, which is the inner part and the purpose for all the worlds. From this is understood the great novelty and renewal that has to be in the service of every single Yid in connection with the 25th of Adar, similar to the renewal that takes place on a birthday. Even after the perfection, the completion of the person's service in fulfilling Torah mitzvahs throughout all the days prior to the birthday, and all the years that came before this year's birthday. To such a degree, like it says by Avraham Avinu, that he came into days. So the Zohar explains that it means that he had full days and complete days. So when it comes to birthday, it has to be an addition and an increase in a way that is completely new. As if he was right now born anew. Like it says in the Hillim, I today made you be born. And this itself, it has to be in the utmost perfect way. Similar to Adam Arishon, that as soon as he was created, where was he located? In the most perfect place in Gan Eden. The true place, wherever he belongs in Gan Eden, but not Gan Eden the way he's outside of a body, but the way that Rebbe adds in the parentheses, Neshama beguf. In Gan Eden, he should be there, a soul inside a body, la'oirach yamim v'shanim toivus, for long days and years and good years, lulei yisarvis and yanim biltritzuyim, that it takes place, that unless there's some other things that get mixed in, that because of that, the Gan Eden is in the spiritual realms instead of with a physical body. Especially according to what it's known, the great advantage and quality of a birthday, that the mazel of a person is ascendant and is in full force and power. This is talking about the overpowering of the mazel of close neshamas Yisrael, like we said before. Like we said before, a greater emphasis on the 25th of Adar in comparison to the 25th of El. Chodesh Adar Kula Ibari V'Takif Mazli, because the entire month of Adar is a strong mazel. Therefore, a birthday in the month of Adar. Therefore, the mazel is already doubly so in a much higher way, because you have already the month of Adar's mazel is already strong, and here you have the overpowering of the mazel of someone whose birthday is then is so much greater, in addition to the strength of the month of Adar itself. So that was all talking about the birthday, because it's Chafei Adar and it's the birthday of the world, and therefore the inner aspect of the world is Adam Rishon, so it's like Adam Rishon's birthday. Now the Rebbe translates it to someone whose birthday is in a simple sense. Moving led us with Pashtas from this understood also concerning the literal type of birthday. Loidak latest on Hashem, and not just the birth of the soul, which is what we were talking about up till now concerning the inner parts of the world, the purpose of the Klal Yisrael, and the birthday of Adam Rishon, who includes in him all the neshamas of the Eden, but rather alagam latest haguf kipshutei mamish, rather also concerning the birth of the body in the literal sense. First and foremost, concerning sons and daughters of Yisrael, that their literal, simple Yom Haledes takes place on the 25th of Adar, and the Rebbe in footnote 29 points out that the 25th of, or actually it says over there, Hamoitzi La'or points it out, that it's the Rebetzin's yard site, and in the birthday, and in the sub footnote, it says, the footnote to a footnote, even footnotes have footnotes, that it says that even after the passing of someone, there's also the individual elevations that can be found on the Yom Haledes, and we see this from different sikhs of the Rabbeim, that they said a mimer after her passing. Later that the Rebbe Rashab said a mimer on his birthday relating to his new kapitel in Tillim. So you see that even after the passing, there is also the elevations of birthday. The Rebbe goes on to say that it's not just that it affects the person who is individual birthday it is, and this is affected both by this affects also their family members. And whether the family member whose birthday it is the man, or whether the family member whose birthday is the woman, still in all, it impacts the rest of the family that their birthday is on that day. But the Rebbe says there's an even greater emphasis when it is the woman, when it's the wife, that's birthdays on the 25th of Adar, being that she's the mainstay of the home. Both concerning every specific home, the woman is the mainstay of her individual home. And also the woman is considered the mainstay for the whole general Neshamas Yisrael. As it's known, Shakadosh Baruch Hu v'Knesset Yisrael, Heim Bedugmas Kaviyachol Ish V'Isha, that Hashem and the Jewish people are similar to a husband and wife. Mazem moving from this is understood. Yom Haledes Shel Isha, that the birthday of a woman, of Befrat Isha Tzadkanis, especially a righteous woman, Shayich Yoser Loiladas Hanashamas, the closeness Yisrael is connected even more so to the birth of all the neshamas of the whole Knesset Yisrael, of the whole Klal Yisrael. And then the Rebbe goes on and says like that this also impacts not just the people whose birthday is on the 25th of Adar. The Rebbe says on the top of the next column, also by those Jewish sons and daughters, that their Yom Haledes is close to the 25th of Adar. And even those that their birthday is after a while from the 25th of Adar. Till including every single Yid, that all of them are like involved in this. Since on the 25th of Adar, the Rebbe was very inclusive as we see many times. Since on the 25th of Adar, Tchilas Maasecha, the Abri of Machshava, the beginning of your action of the creation and Hashem's thought, Nasa Chidush B'Chlal Neshama Yisrael, there becomes a renewal in the general neshamas of Yidden, my Alodas on neshamas, like we said earlier, like the birth of all the neshamas. Having noise of Lakaksha Boitzar Lias Kiddush B'Chlal Savidas Shlach Lechem Yisrael Canal, in addition to the fact that it has to be a renewal in the general service of every single Yid, like we spoke about earlier. Today and the day of Chafei Ba'adar is a preparation for whatever my individual birthday comes out, the birthday of my body in one of the days throughout the year. And it's a preparation, and that assists me the day of Chafei Adar, so that whenever my birthday is in the Cheshvan and Tammuz, whatever, Lenatzel Yom Haladatay Shemazoli Goiver, so he should use out his birthday whenever it comes out, that his mazel is ascendant and his mazel is in full force. That he should add with much more strength and much more power in all matters of Torah mitzvahs, in a way of being in a novel way, in a new way, in a renewed fashion. In his Barb and Marucha Macher, it's explained at length in a different place. Protam and Hogim Yemeledas, the detailed customs of Yemeledas, Kabbalah Sachlotas Toivus, accepting upon ourselves good resolution, Umetech Simcha, not of joy, Yisvad Shal Simcha, the mitzvah, a gathering of a joy of a mitzvah, Shaydez in a toys of Chayis and Meretz, B'chol Inyan Avodah, through that is added vitality and energy in all matters of Avodah. And the previous year, in Chafei Adar, Tavshin Mem Ches, a little bit after the Shloshim of the Rebbetzin Chaim Mushke, so that's when the Rebbe spoke and introduced the Miftzah Yom Haledas, the idea about using out the birthday for many good things and giving all types of hayros, how a person should celebrate his birthday with a fabrengen, etc., etc. And then the Achron Shel Pesach of Tavshin Mem Ches, the Rebbe continued speaking about it and gave out a list of 10 things, some of them things that the Rebbe never spoke about, some of them things that are already in other places that Rebbe mentioned, what a person should do during their birthday. The empowerment for this, that a person, whenever their birthday is in the year, should use the birthday out in a positive way, in an uplifting way, in a way of good resolutions and a simcha shel mitzvah. But the empowerment for all of this is Mechafei Adar, comes in the 25th of Adar, the beginning of your actions of the creation and thought. The beginning and the root and the source for the birth of neshamas the first time around, as we explained earlier, that was what rose up in Hashem's thought the first time around. And this is again the renewal of the birth of neshamas every single year. The way it comes down to every individual neshama, and also concerning the birthday of the person's individual and specific body, like we said earlier. Let me see, might just skip towards the end over here. 1 minute. Okay. We will go to the end of the Sicha. That's going to be on page 511, where the Rebbe brings the Hayroas from this. Oh, over here it's not that number, it's a different number. Let's go on. Here it's a different number than what I have. Okay. Yud Aleph, page 366. Hayra Mekala Amr La'el B'Negel L'Maisa Payil. The lesson and directive from all that was mentioned above concerning action, standing in the date of the 25th of Adar, the source of the beginning of your doings, including and specifically the creation of man, especially that you are called Adam, like we said earlier at length, that the Rebbe spoke about in the part of Sicha we skipped, or Parshas Vayibam Mishmini Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and the Parsha Of Vahibia Mashmini, we learned the Chitas yesterday. That was the first day of the month of Nisan, was the 8th day of the training of the Bnei Aaron. There has to be a renewal and a newness in all matters of service. Both in matters that are mundane and permitted things that we do. And both in matters of holiness, which is tied on its mitzvahs. And the renewal has to be in an incomparable way in comparison to the way we did the avodah prior to the 25th of Adar. Including also that the 25th of Adar this year has to be more and greater, and a renewal over the 25th of Adar a previous year and the Parts HaChodesh in the previous year. And this itself, the Ili Achar Ili, one ascent after another ascent, an unlimited and unbounded level. It's beyond being unbounded. The Yisayim is even more so. Not just an increase in a way that's unbounded and incomparable. When you have a level that's without boundary, it could still be within the same category. Rather has to be like a totally new existence. Dugmas inyan aleida, similar to the idea of birth. When a person is born, it's a completely new being. It says, the Rashi says concerning the first day of Nisan, the 8th day that our parsha begins with, says that was a day that took 10 crowns. What is the idea of 10 crowns? It permeates all of his 10 soul powers. Even the way they are a state that's transcendent, they still permeate. A Taurus, as a keser, a crown, is makif. It's transcendent, and still in all, it permeates all of his 10 soul powers. To such a degree that every single Jew merits to be crowned with crowns. Al derech mashakasav b'Megillas Esther, similar to what it says in the Megillah, Mordechai and Mordechai, and similar to this in each and every one who is a member of the nation of Mordechai. He went out from in front of the king. In the king is also hinting at Malchus Shaloilam, the king of the world, Hashem. The Levush Malchus, he was wearing royal garb. The main thing that the Rebbe is emphasizing over here is he was wearing a big gold crown. So every Yid merits the gold crown because we are all part of the nation of Mordechai. And additional to this, and this is primary, all Yidden merit the crown of the King Mashiach in such a way that a king in his beauty your eyes will see. Well, pratis yoser, even more specifically, first and foremost, in a matter that is of time importance, concerning preparations for the Yom Tov Pesach, to study the halachas of the Yom Tov, to give out the money for to be able to buy Pesach needs to those that need, chalukas matzah shmura, to also give out matzah shmura to those that do not have their own shmura matzah. Asher after kol Yisrael b'cheskas kashrus, though every yid is to be assumed to have done everything correctly, so therefore, why do I have to remind people to do this? And surely they began concerning this 30 days before the Yom Tov of Pesach. They already began from Purim, which is 30 days before Pesach. Yes, so even though everybody started doing this, yes, we have to add in this, in all these matters, in so much more of a powerful way, in a way that it's completely new. Both concerning himself, and so too also, and how much more so concerning the effect on another. Like the command that you shall love your fellows yourself, in such a way that you will open and again open, you will give and again give, even 100 times. That's the way you have to try to affect another without any limitations of how many times to increase and to encourage them. And so too, concerning adding in all matters of Torah mitzvahs in a way that it's completely new. Including specifically concerning the study of Torah. There's an obligation on every single Jew. In addition to studying Torah, there's also an obligation to bring in novel insights into Torah, to spread this out and to increase in this. Let's skip over a little bit towards the last page, or almost last page. The second paragraph, similar to this, also concerning the study of the inner part of the Torah. That's the crown of the Torah. Including and specifically the spreading of the well springs outward. We have to add in it in a matter of a new way. Both a new way in the level of the well springs, also a new way of how much outward you bring it out. That to them you bring the well springs in a way of spreading them out. You have to bring it out in a very low chutzah. Through all this, through a way of adding and toiling in Torah. If you toil, you will find. Now, through the toil in Torah, then we say you will find, and we know that a found object is completely beyond the level how much a person toiled in. It doesn't say you will toil and you will earn. Finding means something incomparable to whatever effort you did. Till we merit the true find. David, like Hashem says, I found David, my servant, going on Mashiach. Through Mashiach will become revealed the true newness in the Torah. The Torah that a person studied in this world is considered like air in comparison the Torah of Mashiach's times. Limud ba'ifin shel riyah. When Mashiach comes, the study will be in a way that we will see what it says in the Torah. We will not just use our intellect; it will be shown to us. Until be even a something new, even in comparison to the Torah of Mashiach, Torah Chadashim that will come out specifically from me, from Hashem's very essence. Yes, we can connect this with the Torah reading that's read on the mincha of that Shabbos that was Parsha Shmini, so the Torah reading of that Shabbos was a mincha. But by us, it's the Torah reading that we're reading. Isha, that we're going to be reading this week. Isha kisazriya v'yolda zachar, a woman that will take seed and she will give birth to a male. Heim benegel le'inen achidush, both concerning the newness. She'ikram amitla chidush u'besazriya. The main chidush is when she takes seed, yoser masher b'leida, even more so than in birth. Ki aleida be'erech la'azriya hi ba'ofen shel gili ahelav le'chidush mamish, because the birth in comparison to having the seed take is in a way just really revealing what was concealed before. But it's not a true novelty. But that is one type of novelty and newness that the Rebbe is emphasizing in the Sicha. Both concerning the redemption, he'll give birth to a male, like it's known that the exile is likened to gestation, to pregnancy, and the Geula is likened to birth. A geula, redemption, a birth in the way of a male that shows on a geula that has no gullus following it. Pratis yoiser, even more specific. Isha, earlier we said in the Sicha that Isha shows on the whole Klal Yisrael. We said that the husband is Hashem and the wife is Knesset Yisrael, is the Yidden. Ki Sazriya, what does it mean? Sazriya, Roimez al avoida binyan Torah mitzvahs. The idea of taking seed, that's the avoida of Torah mitzvahs. K'maimer azal, the Chazal say, till the same tzadikim ma'asim tovim, that the offspring of tzadikim, what's considered their children, that's their good deed. My peri mitzvahs, work is their fruits, that's mitzvahs. So that's the idea of the seed. The seed is what gives forth the fruit, that's the idea of mitzvahs. including and specifically the effect that one has on another. Kabizgam, like the saying, like the famous saying, that be fruitful and multiply. Mitzvah Rishonim, the first mitzvah in the Torah. Gamba Maila, also the fact that it's the first means also that it's in level, it's also first. The Ruchnius, what's the spiritual idea behind it is, that's one, the idea of spiritual being fruitful and multiply, that one yid makes another yid and another yid. Yolda Zachar gives birth to a boy, at the avoiders with a full force and everlasting existence. In addition to this, and primarily that it speeds up and brings in actuality the everlasting redemption, the redemption that has no gullus following it. This should be for us immediately. Before we read in the Torah, this parsha, b'minchas Shabbos, and the minchas Shabbos, while we're still in continuation and under the impression of the kriya that we read in the morning of that Shabbos, that was in the 8th day, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Asher b'Nisan Nigalu. That Nisan, our Nigalu of saying our forefathers were redeemed. And in Nisan we will be redeemed in the future. Beginning from the Shabbos the Mevarchim of the month of Nisan, which was that year, the Shabbos of the Sicha. Parsha Chodesh was also the Parsha we read a Chodesh, talking about the Korban Pesach. The boy Korban B'Torah Parsha Pesach. Then in this we read the Parsha of the Korban Pesach. You may say, it should happen that like the days going on in Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. But take it from Yad and immediately, we will give you thanks with a new song, not Shira Chadasha, but it says Shir Chadash in the masculine, on our redemption, on the redemption of our souls, on our holy land, Yerushalayim the holy city, in the third base of Mikdash, in Zion he will say, a man and a man will give birth in it, and he will prepare it from above. Take from Yad Mamish immediately.
Amen.